Stan, Kelly, welcome to Coffee Convos, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I just want to start off here. I had seen on, I think like the Sports Center app, they were doing like clips of like fans in the stands and, starting to see kind of like the images again of people being in the stands. And now we're talking right now about sports starting back up again. And I just want to hear from you guys, like, what is your feeling on this? I think, like, are you guys ready to kind of like jump back into a packed stadium? Are you guys hungry for that? Or will you be a little more cautious as you kind of like ease back into it sports wise?
I don't think we've ever been the type, the two of us in particular, have ever been the type to rush into a sports stadium. I've always felt plenty comfortable with the Warriors on my 70-inch. Thought that gave a great view. But yeah, no, definitely not rushing back out there. Especially over the last couple of weeks, feels like we've really detoxed. Like it's all of a sudden now just feels like so much energy. Like people in general.
Yes, the extroverts are rejoicing and the introverts are wishing this would just go on a little bit longer. But Myriam, you and I, we're kind of like on the same track. We're kind of like staying to ourselves, not necessarily in full quarantine lockdown, but kind of like definitely being a little more cautious. So what are your thoughts about kind of like getting back out there and whether it's, an amateur sporting event or a professional sporting event?
I'm a little bit of like, okay, this is a different lifestyle and I want to embrace it. I'm not ready to like go back fully to what was the before. I think I'm looking to redefine what it means, to go back out, whatever that means for sporting event or other things or going to restaurant or
just even like watching television shows, or I've been watching this Michael Jordan documentary. And there was like a scene where he was like in the inside of the stadium and he was walking up to another player and they were going to high five and hug. And like, just like naturally right now, I was like, oh no, don't touch, like, don't high five him. So it's really interesting, like the effect that it has. And, I really have only seen a handful of people total in the last like 2 months. So I think for me personally, like I agree with you guys. Like I definitely kind of want to take it step by step. I'm not 100% eager to like run down to the beach or go back and be in a huge public space, especially right now. I just think like being a little more cautious is definitely kind of like the way that I'm going to proceed, at least for the near future.
Yeah, and I want to echo on like what Myriam was talking about. Like I think it's very interesting. It's the last like 2 months. I've been using the phrase. It's been like exciting in slow motion. Like it's like, and you almost want to be like, well, shouldn't we all be recharged right now? We just had 2 months of not having to do anything or real obligations, and it's like that's been not. It doesn't feel that way at all. Like coming to the end of May, it's like. Looking back, it's like, no, we've all been like frantically looking for whatever this new life is. And like, I've been very much feeling that same thing. Like Myriam, like, I'm deep on this soul searching path right now, not looking for, looking to kind of continue to stay deep and ask those questions and not ready to go back into the world and, find that alone, that real peaceful alone time, not the frantic energy, frantic, this is an apocalypse alone time.
Well, and I think this is all due to this crazy connectivity that we face at home. Like, if you're not hearing from the news, the conflicting news that are all around us, then you are watching 10 different type of TV shows and people speaking, and it doesn't feel that it's slowed down, except for the fact that you're inside slowing down. But you're still super connected, right? And so I think the call for being outside in nature, not necessarily with people, but outside is still great for sure.
It might be like it's hard being an athlete and you're physically used to being outside or playing with others. So finding the at-home routine has been really interesting. And doing it through Zoom, like having yoga and doing dance classes or like finding your workout routine, like I feel like strengthening that at home practice and what myself is when I'm an athlete with just myself and not with a team or with people outside. That's something I want to look forward to, like building and kind of developing that routine in my life.
Do you guys feel and hear in the basketball world? You're very involved in the streetball, and how's it going right now? Like, what do people want? What do they feel?
Man, very interesting. The uncertainty. I've personally been it's been very interesting to kind of see how much the NBA dictates the entire sports world. I mean, the basketball world. I mean, it's like, and I think that the NBA was affected, because it was the season that was in full swing. I think every other organization, MLB and NFL, they're either just starting or, I guess hockey was also in full swing, but, they were, it kind of got cut off in the middle, and it's like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to end the season, and it really threw everybody into this, whirlwind. And people are looking for answers, like, within weeks, and and it's just like, well, you're not going to get answers that fast. And I mean, they still haven't really said what they're going to do about this season. And now, so our world is the streetball world that that we partner with, and actually just today, Hoops in the Sun said they were canceling their season. Drew League mentioned they were canceling their season. So the season cancellations are all kind of happening right now. Our partners in Miami are actually thinking about trying to. There's people on the team that want to be like, this is our chance to get on the map. Like, we're in Florida. Let's go play basketball. The commissioner's like, hold on a second. Like, doesn't mean that there's no lawsuits or, that someone might actually won't get sick. But so there's been like this massive period of confusion, but then I would say that it also is accelerating this change that we have kind of been fostering around helping, so we help, get teams online and engage their audiences online with the show. And as we've been kind of working with these teams, we've been telling them, hey, these events that you host that are mostly in person now, in the future, are going to be, your audience is going to be online, and really focusing on creating the digital product to engage your audience online. And thinking about how that is going to affect your production, making it so it looks amazing on camera, making the lighting look great, maybe putting backdrops in certain areas, or having painted courts, or doing things that make you look out of the box. Those are things that we were all kind of like seeding and pushing a little bit, and people were kind of not hearing us last year. And this year, they're like, we're going to make VIP events and no fans in stadiums, and the new trend is going to be smaller gyms instead of bigger gyms, and we're really excited for that. We are super excited for that. I think that it's going to create a whole new look for sports. It has the potential to create a whole new look. It does, can be kind of COVID compliant. I think it can be really representative of what a lot of communities actually play with. To feel. I think that when you look at professional athletes in the stands, you can't connect with them mentally because you don't know what it's like to play there. But if you see them playing at Rucker Park or a community gym or somewhere where you can actually set foot, you can actually kind of relate. So we're really excited to hear this excitement from the other commissioners. And we're still, but like I said, exciting in slow motion. We're all excited to do it, and we still don't know when. We're still. All the puzzle pieces have got to come together between players feeling safe, venues opening up, sponsors, helping support and things like that. So it's interesting, for sure.
You said it's driven mostly by the NBA, but do you see it also driven by your conversation that you have with some of the brands and the sponsors, the Nikes and Puma?
Well,
what are they saying?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's interesting. I think that it's kind of traditionally driven by NCAA and NBA, and I think one of the things that I saw as a really interesting indicator for this kind of like this release of control is with the NCAA basically telling all of their conferences that there's no set schedule. You guys can all play whenever your regions allow. Mm-hmm. I've always viewed the schedule as sort of the this like driving force, like adhering to the schedule every year. Myriam, you and I talk all the time. We were talking all the time about just how fast sports, it felt like there was never a window. And for a new entrant, like it was just trying to get a hold of a sponsor was such a pain before COVID. Now we can actually get access to them. We get people that reach out. They have time to look at new products and look at new ways to do marketing, and they are looking at our products. They are talking to our partners and looking for
online opportunities,
other ways. So
I love that you're bringing up the schedule, because we've had that conversation before, you and I, and if you talk to sports people, the schedule is like this sacred thing that you don't touch. In every sport, it's like, okay, we do this in the fall, we do this in the spring, we do this in the off season. It seems that you can never move anything. And now suddenly everybody's like, oh yeah, we're gonna move this, we're gonna move that, or we've moved the Olympics, so we can move the World Championship, so we can move this. Everything is up in the air all at once, and it's a little bit scary, obviously, but such a great opportunity, because suddenly everybody's like, oh, we're flexible with this, let's do it.
And time to innovate. Like, you have to, it's been on such a schedule for so long that we've never had time to slow down and be like, let's think about this. Like, let's think about the areas we're not tackling, or how can we spread it out more across the world, or how we get more people in playing and more people in sport. And now we have all that time to have innovation and creativity like really sink in. And like, there's so much, I feel like, on the way I view like the future of sports, that there's a whole untapped world that the sports world has not been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very male dominated, and it hasn't been able to reach this other aspect that I think is this sort of creative and artistic athlete that is going to kind of come out in the future. Is like, there's this new breed of an athlete coming, and we're developing it, and it's coming through this innovation that we're all kind of mixing together. And I think sports is going to go in this whole new direction. It's just like, we need to have this time to stop and kind of think about our future. Like, what do we want in the future? How are we going to be new people? Like, how are we going to connect with the earth? Like, how are we going to connect with each other better and healthier activities? So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Evan, what do you think about the schedule being so flexible? I mean, football is also a very set in stone type of yearly, schedule and planning.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now for any league or any team, I think just having the ability to adjust is going to be big. And so just having that ability to continually adjust to the changes, whether it's with the schedule, whether it's with, the people that are on your team, whether it's with kind of like fans being in the stands or not, that's going to be really crucial moving forward. And so I think that's going to be one of the elements that's going to decide kind of the teams that are going to be successful in the short term after this is all lifted and we attempt to start getting back to normal.
And I'm just curious, from your perspective, what ideas you think the sports world is missing in terms of content and entertainment? What are we not doing that you would want to see?
Well, I always feel like it's so competitive, and that's such a beautiful part of sports, but there's the part that's like the playing and the funness that you get from viewing sports. And it's because it's been so like, I'm the best, competitive, win, that you're missing this other side of like the athlete, which is like having fun and playing and involving art in it. And I feel like there's this aspect of when I watch sports that I'm just like, the lighting is wrong, the coloring's off, like they could be doing this and that with angles and changing the lighting on the stage and on the courts. Like they could be playing creatively with viewing how we're viewing content coming in. I think that's why social media and like LA these last decade has went from, movies, all of a sudden to the actor and the entertainer being able to control their own content and being a YouTube star and being an influencer. And it took it away from the industries. So it's coming to the athlete. Like it's coming this direction where athletes are taking control and being like, I'm not, like the organization doesn't control me anymore. I can control my own audience. How can I be entertaining? How can I put on the show for the people and make them have more fun and make sport this empowerment instead of being like so competitive? I think it's going to go into like empowerment sort of thing instead of like this competition.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting time for like athletes to kind of control their brand, control their media. You know, gosh, there's some stars like Andre Drummond, like is live like every day. Like, I mean, you know, there's all these sports fans. They want to engage with these people. They're following them on Instagram. Like, you know, I mean, and I'm talking mainly these pros, particularly right now. But I mean, there's a lot of influencers too. Bone collectors of the world that, you know, that can use this time, you know, to make content in their, you know, to make content like this that's like totally authentic. We're all kind of used to this. So I think, like, I mean, to kind of go along with Kelly, like alternative video products is almost what I wanted to respond to. Like, what can sports world think? Like, when I look at the sports world, I just think of like when I look at the NBA now, it's like the same thing every game, same angles. Just it's, you know, just a few different jersey colors. You know, the score's a little bit different, but it's really the same video product like every single time. And I think now that with the schedule being blown wide open, with everybody's got, you know, TikTok in their pocket and can make video products, you know, can do all their own video production. You know, with sports being with major networks being down and major sports leagues being down, and this is really the time to like almost reprogram viewers' expectations and get them to really kind of look at new things. And I personally don't think it'll be the same after this.
Yeah, I think I spoke with someone recently too about the Olympic movement, but he was saying, you know, the whole format of competition needs to change. The leagues needs to look at like having really local, regional competition where you can really relate to your team or your athlete, and they control their own schedule. And same thing at the Olympic level. Why put on such a huge event every 4 years? And there's a group of people that's pushing for something more regularly, more accessible, sort of like the beach games or some of the other events. So I think we're going to see more and more of that, and some really different branding and staging for each of those competition. What do you like? Why would brand would go with this one or this one? It's because they have a different feel, they have a different audience. Like, you really can cater to where the audience is and what they like. So I think a lot of opportunity in that space for sure, right?
I think like creating branding for a community team. It's not just a team and they have a color and you're Santa Monica. It's like, what is the vibe of Santa Monica? What is this like brand you're creating? What's the feel and the words? Like, how do you create almost like this entity that's not just like a competition team, that it's like this feeling that you want to be a part of with the community, and there's community entertainment. I think the really important thing is like having your community be a part of the halftime shows, like your MCs, these are all locals. Like, if you start from the base of the community and grow, I think that's gonna, like, everyone's gonna want to rep their own part of their own community, not just like, oh, my NBA team, here I am, but like coming down to the core, to the very, very bottom of like the grassroots, and being like, who are we at the very bottom together as our community?
Maybe Evan, that's a way to get people back into watching sport live without being in a stadium. Is like having local,
completely.
You know, local activation of a specific event. It's probably what's going to happen more and more.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a really good chance of that, right? Just because, you know, it doesn't seem like in the near future that they're going to be filling up the Rose Bowl or any of these NFL stadiums or any of these NBA arenas, and on and on. And so I think that you're 100% right. I mean, there are going to be still people out there that are going to be really, really thirsty and hungry to kind of like get back out there and experience sports in person. And that may not be at the Rose Bowl. That may be more than likely at a smaller venue and kind of a more intimate gathering, so to speak. So I love kind of what Dan and Kelly have been talking about, just in terms of taking advantage of this opportunity, and it seems like they're really poised to really kind of you know, take advantage of the opportunity that this has presented.
Yeah, I mean, to the point of this communities thing, I feel that like a lot of the sports world, you know, the blinders are on, you know, with looking at pro leagues and things like that. I mean, when you talk to people in communities, and when you go to a lot of the community streetball events we see, you know, at gyms and stuff, these are free events that people enjoy going to. And I mean, when you talk to people in stands, they lament about Staples Center parking or the tickets. I mean, we talk about these events like these are like these amazing experiences, but like, can we like be honest about like what it's like to go to a professional game? Like, and the traffic you sit in, and the amount of money you pay to park, and the amount of money you pay for a drink, and the view you get relative to watching on TV, and the access you get to actually seeing the players up close, you know, the loud guy that's sitting behind you. Like, I don't know, like, what's all the things that like make this the most amazing event, like, you know, that we're all clamoring to get so close to these stars. It's just, I don't know. As you can tell, I'm not a big fan of, you know, going to live sports events, but I like, you know, but I love to go to Venice Beach and watch whoever's there. And I think that, like, you know, as pro sports, I think people are going to see, you know, they're going to go to these local events, or, you know, because they're going to be the most nimble. You know, I think in the fall, I don't think you're going to be able to stop humans from playing sports this fall. Like, whether it's, maybe the schools won't allow it, or maybe someone's not going to allow it, but you're not going to stop humans from playing sports. Like, we're going to find a way. And then you're going to find, and people are going to watch them. and I think, you know, maybe it won't be digital. I think there's going to be this weird like mix of like digital and real life, where we reprogram, you know, okay, I'm not watching the 3-hour games anymore. I'm not going to the stands, but I'm still getting my sports fix. Maybe I'm playing more myself, you know, things like that. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm hoping that these are the changes as we like get away from all clamoring over the top 1%, you know, and realize that we're all athletes and there's sports everywhere.
And that's the link between you know, the pro sport are just going to come closer and closer to the recreational sport. You know, you're going to have, just like you have CrossFit events, street balls, I think the professional sport are going to realize they have to get closer to that, because that's just the future. It's going to be localized, amateurs, athletes, and pros together.
I always think too, the generation Gen Z below us, they love authentic content, and most of them are watching, like, they're growing up with watching people on YouTube that are just authentic. Like, they don't really care for TV that's overproduced. So them, like one of our league's basketball beauties, more than half of their audience is younger women, like teenage girls that are just like, I'm dying to be like you, because they have an idol in their own community, someone that they can relate to, someone that looks so authentic and real, that they are not like, yes, everyone will have an idol on TV, but like someone that is in your community, like just a step up from you, an age higher than you, and a level higher than you, is so much more real as an inspiration for you coming up the ladder. Like, you can relate more. So I feel like getting the younger kids to, like, it's not just the 1%, it's everyone on the ladder on the way up that way.
You're going to have these opportunities for these athletes to really take advantage of that, right? Where you are going to have a really loyal fan base. It may not be 10 million Instagram followers, but the people that do follow you are going to be able to, kind of like you guys are saying, be very intimately involved in following you and kind of see you every step of the way. So really, really cool. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm out of coffee, but thank you guys so much for joining us on Coffee Convos, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Anytime.